Kia ora everybody, welcome back to another episode of Untidy. My name is Hannah Davison. I'm the co-founder and author of the My Big Moments children's books, mother to two who are just having their birthdays and turning 12 and 10, which makes me feel very old, let me tell you.
Double digits.
Double digits. Yeah, we actually had this, sorry, how about we introduce you before I go on a tangent?
Yeah,
Here's my
okay.
radiant co-host.
So, sorry, children, it's about me for a minute, and then we'll get to your birthdays. My name is Matilda Green. I'm a mum of three. One of mine is turning 1 tomorrow, so slightly different stages
Podcast
going on.
baby.
I know, little podcast baby. I remember when we were doing our birth episode. Podcast
Well, I was
partners.
thrilled to be involved.
And also mum to a little fur baby, and I'm a content creator and kind of author, I think. Yeah. Author,
Yes.
let's just say it. Author. Great. Author.
Do it. Take it.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So you're right in the thick of Christmas and birthday parties. We've touched on this on the pod before, how December
Oh
is
my
quite a shit
God.
show for you.
Absolute shit show. Yeah, so we had a conversation in the car about double digit same number. And like that seemed to be a very important feature for the kids because my son's just turned 12 from being 11. So then they're like, well, you're not double digit same number anymore. How long is it going to be till you're double digit same number? And so then we all had to work it out. Yeah. And I was like, well, I didn't know this was a thing. He was not going to be double digit same number until he's 22 now.
Yeah.
And Frankie's going to be double digit same number in a year. And I'm going to be double digit same number in 3 years.
Okay. Oh, there is something special about a double digit same number. I'll give it to them, actually. There's something satisfying about it, isn't it?
Yeah. And I love what a big deal is the next number for kids, Like Alex was sort of musing in the car and he's like, well, it doesn't feel any different to be 12, but I'm not an 11-year-old anymore. I just remember what a big deal it was every time you had a birthday and you're like, oh God, here I am, 12.
Yeah, here I am entering my new era. Oh, bless them. Things are a really big deal when you're a child, aren't they? It's just, and you kind of forget, like when I had my birthday in October, kids were like, oh my gosh, happy birthday. That's so cool. How old are you?
And then they're like, what kind of cake are you going to have? Like the cake is a big deal. And you're like, well, I'm actually trying to avoid it, but
yeah, actually, I'd rather not have it, to be honest, if I'm, if we're being frank. But yeah, it's as you get older, they sort of, which is a shame because it is amazing to be 1 year older every year.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
privilege and it's
Yes.
a wonderful thing. And we could learn that from kids, how excited they are to be 1 whole year older, ready to take on the next challenge.
Oh, I love it. And yeah, so oh God, sorry guys, bear with me. Okay, this is the issue. This was on the list. But what you're going to notice this episode is that Matty's doing a lot of the heavy lifting because I came down with COVID. I've been sick for a week and a half.
So it was COVID.
Well, look, I haven't tested. So call me a hypochondriac if you'd like, but let me tell you, the symptoms marry up. I have no sense of taste. I have no sense of smell. My head feels like it's full of mashed potato. It's affected my vision. It's affected my hearing. I can't stop sleeping. I don't know what else it could be. Is there any point to going and doing a COVID test? Probably not.
No, not anymore.
Look, it's COVID. It's a flu. It's a virus. I don't care. It sucks. That's what it is.
It's a really shit time. Oh,
I'm
God,
not having a good time. And so but I had really weird symptoms as well. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. Listen, it was quite hard to get through the first birthday. Alex was on the 1st of December. It hadn't fully bloomed at that stage and I didn't know what I was dealing with. I thought I just was coming down with a weak cold. So I was like, okay, we can just muscle through this. And then after his birthday, it fully bloomed and I went to bed. But yeah, it's just been a bit of a juggle and trying to parent. Luckily, my mum was down. Poor thing. I just want her to come down where I'm not stressed out or sick or, just dealing with a bunch of things so we can just have a nice time. But no, She came down, looked after me, looked after the children, cleaned up the house, and washed all of my sofa cushion and squab covers because
Oh.
it was really bothering me that they were disgusting.
Oh,
And
godmothers are a
I
godsend.
know, I'm
Oh,
just like, oh,
bless
she comes
her.
down and still has to parent me. It
And, like,
never
isn't
ends. That's what the thing, Maddie, it's never gonna end. One day
I
we'll be
know.
washing our children's squab covers, won't we?
Honestly, I call my mum all the time, like, to the point where I'm like she's probably like, "Oh, for God's sake, just leave me
Grow up!
alone."
Look after yourself. You're a grown ass woman now.
Constantly. Constantly asking questions or just, "Oh, what are you up to? Yeah, what's going on in your world?" She's like, "Oh god, don't you have stuff to do? You got 3 kids."
Go away.
Go away.
I've got bridge to get to. I don't know what mothers do.
Oh god. Well,
Oh,
they
so
answer their daughter's phone calls. That's what they do. They,
oh, thank
uh
God for that.
I
Thank God
know,
for
I
that.
know. And they're a wonderful ear when you're, in the parenting troughs and you can just call them and have a just good old whinge about it sometimes.
I do think to myself, I need to remember to call when I've just got something good to say, not when I want to bitch and moan. Because
Mm.
when you're feeling like shit, you're like, I know who will entertain me.
Who can't get away.
I know
Mum.
who's gonna humor me when I'm feeling like shit. Mum.
Yeah, what's she gonna do? Hang up? Of course not.
I know she's gotta pretend to care whether she likes it or not. That's part of the deal.
Oh, well,
Oh,
it's a nice feeling to think like that's gonna be us one day. We're gonna have our kids calling us with lots of issues, lots of problems. They're gonna wanna have a moan, and we're gonna be there for them, and that's a nice thought.
is it? Well,
Yeah, well, perhaps. I don't know.
let's find out. Anyway, I did wanna talk about these weird symptoms because I have really struggled to surrender to the sickness, which has meant that, like, I actually have to sleep it off.
Mm.
And a symptom I was not expecting was, like, extreme anxiety,
Mhm.
like, feeling really panicky, feeling down, like, I don't even feel like I'm in my own brain. Like, it's actually been quite scary, and I was talking to Flickr, our business partner, about it, and she's like, "Oh my god, yeah, whenever I get COVID, I always get really anxious and depressed." And I'm like, "Oh my god." I feel like my brain has turned inside out. Like, it was really scary.
Wow, and do you
Yeah.
think that's from the virus, or was it like a byproduct of feeling like you're then behind in work and you can't get ahead or
I
family's gonna
well,
get it?
I I think it's elements of both, but I think largely the virus because I'm not like what's going on in my head. I know that
Mm.
that's not me, and which didn't make me feel any more relaxed. Like I'd be fully asleep and kind of panicking at the same time.
Oh, how horrible.
It really has been horrible, Betty.
Oh,
It really,
dang.
yeah. So just shout out to anyone who's had that symptom. Feel for
Mm.
you. Horrible. And it just made me go, like, honestly, I was questioning everything about my life.
Oh
Um,
god, you've really been on a ride
I
these
know.
past couple of weeks.
And then
Jesus.
it doesn't help that of course, like I just physically haven't been able to work, as you know. I haven't really been turning up on Slack.
Mm.
And we've had to reschedule recordings and all sorts of things. And so then it just like it kind of makes it worse because you're like, "Oh my god, I'm just getting more and more and more and more behind." But yeah, it has been it's like you have to surrender sometimes to the sickness.
Yep.
I've found it I wanna be all spiritual about it and mature, and I can't be. I've
Mm.
hated it. I mean,
Oh, I
I've
bet.
ultimately had to surrender to it because there was nothing that I could do,
Mm.
but it's been horrible, not gonna lie.
Oh
Horrible.
god, but do you know what? Like in those moments where you have to reschedule people and you feel like you're behind even though it's fine, it's this horrible feeling, but it's also a reminder that it's like it's okay. Like It is fine. If we have
Yeah.
a couple of weeks where you've just gotta stop, you've gotta push the brakes and recover. A friend of mine said a saying recently that I really loved, and he said, "Look, when shit hits the fan in our office, we just go, 'Look, it's PR, not ER.'" You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fine. You know, like, at the end of the day, hey, what's the worst that could happen? We'll be fine. We're not in the bloody ED department at Middlemore, you know,
Yeah.
we can get through it. It's
Yeah.
okay,
And
and but it's hard, you know, when you feel like, "Oh, no, I'm behind on this, and I gotta get this done," and it's
yeah.
stressful.
And then you sort of feel like you're annoying people and letting people down. And then, but then that's just part of your weird COVID virus brain. And then,
God,
but
what is up with this horrific I really don't want this strain of COVID
well,
that's gonna make
thank
me
God that we're
questioning my
actually
life.
in different islands so I can't cough all over you. I mean, oh, but it also has made me realize and remember that thing about how, when your brain is really anxious and panicky and you know that you're not yourself, you cannot trust what it's saying.
Mm,
So like you have to create that separation and go, I know my brain's doing this right now, but that's not me and it's not real. And
mm.
you have to separate yourself from, like, you can't buy into it. Just go, okay, this is the experience. I have to write it out. I have nowhere else to go. I've thought about all the options. I can't get out of my head.
But isn't that funny? And I wonder if that comes from, well, I think it comes with years of being alive, and also our meditation practice really helps that too. Like
Yeah.
um, today, last night, and today, I've been a complete feral dragon. Just, I can feel it in myself. I'm
Fantastic.
horrible, you know.
Oh my God, what did you
I'm
do?
Oh, I mean, it's really not that well, it kind of is actually. So, you know, I'm tired at the moment. I haven't had COVID, so I don't want to, like, be
So
like,
we don't need to
"Oh,
minimize
woe
your.
is me, woe
Oh,
is
Maddie,
me."
I have a funny story about one-upmanship and comparisons and competitive suffering, but we're going to do you first. But what I want to say is
But yours is better.
no. No, what I want to say is let's not. We don't need to minimize your experience.
No, no.
I'm having
Everyone's
my
heart is
little.
hard, as they say.
Yes, I'm having my little experience over here, and that's fine. But you're also having a hard time, and it's relative, and you
Yes.
can have a hard time, and you can feel your suffering, and you can not enjoy it, and that's fine. And we don't need to compare it.
Yes, exactly, exactly. But I have felt like not my best parenting self recently, because I think both of the older two are going through a bit of a crunchy time, like developmentally. There's a lot going on. Autumn, who has always been, you know, I don't like saying it, but like, I mean, pretty easy, right? She's like, she's kind of the one that is, she's a bit more easygoing. Um, and but at the moment, I'm like, okay, you know, we're seeing a little bit of a crunch at the moment, and things are getting a little bit more challenging at
How old is she
times.
now?
Three
Three
and a
and a
half.
half. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
did well
which
there.
is
I guessed right.
really good. Bang on,
Thank you.
actually.
Interested in your family, just proved it.
Yep, thank
Um,
you, been listening. Yes, and so this morning we had a bit of a blow up where Milo, I don't even know what triggered it, but something quite small triggered it, and he got really upset and in a bit of a mood. We're trying to get ready for preschool and get out of the door, and I'm just bloody tired at the moment. I don't have a lot of give in my patience,
we're
and
low on
so
adaptation energy.
Very much so. And yeah, so he had a bit of a meltdown. He kind of came at me, was a little bit aggressive. So I was trying to, you know, contain him. I got a little scratch on the arm, you know, which I get really triggered by anything physical like that.
Mhm.
Like even with Penny, and Penny's one, even when she gives me a smack in the face, sometimes I'm like, excuse me, Like it really there's something about it that just really triggers me. I don't know what it is.
I
Like
get it.
when someone comes at me kind of physically, it's like puts me into like fight or flight straight away. So anyway, yeah, he had a meltdown. I got really, really pissed off. And then I just couldn't get out of it. I couldn't get out of it. So all morning, then I could feel myself doing like silent treatment in a mood, smashing things around the kitchen. I shoved the bags by the door and was like, right, get your bags, kids, come on. It was just, I was quite unpleasant to be around. And the whole time, I could feel like in my head, I was like, come on, pull yourself together. We're past it. Move on. Don't ruin the whole morning. Like it's okay. Come on. But I just couldn't. And like we got in the car and honestly, I couldn't even talk. Like I just turned the music on and I was like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to today. And I could feel the kids in the back feeling incredibly uncomfortable, and Milo was like, are we still going to go and get ice cream after preschool today? Because we were supposed to do that. And then I was like, I don't know, Milo. And like really petty, just like petty parent. And then he said really quietly, he goes, you can have my ice cream if you want.
Oh,
I know. I know, I know. And it was just this horrible moment where I was like, come on, here's the time. Here's the time to be like, everything's all right. You don't have to give me your ice cream. Let's be fine. But I couldn't. And I was like, no, thanks. Like, honestly. And so then I dropped them off at preschool and I felt horrific. I really felt horrific. Like getting back in the car, driving home. I was like, oh my God, I really ballsed that up. That was Milo's way of saying to me, like, I want to do something for you to make this right. And he doesn't have he doesn't know how to do that. Like he doesn't have the tools. He's 5 years old to be like, here's an olive branch, mother. I'm very sorry for what I did this morning. Let's make it right.
yeah.
Like that was his way. And I sort of fobbed it off because I just couldn't get past this horrible mood and this anger that I was in. And I've been stewing over it all day, just being like, oh, I really made him feel like crap. And like, oh my God, it makes me feel emotional now because it's
Oh,
like
it's okay.
that was my time to step up and be the parent and be an adult and regulate myself, but I couldn't do it. And I've just been reflecting on how we expect so much of children. We really do expect so much of them
Mm,
because I could feel like in myself that what I wanted was an apology and I wanted him to say, I'm really sorry for that. And, I shouldn't have done that or whatever. But it's like, he is 5 and he knows that he did the wrong thing, but he needs me to step up and help him and help him through that and help him have the skills to be able to smooth it over. And I just really feel like I let him down and just feel really upset about it. It's
oh,
just a horrible
it's
feeling. Like
it's a horrible feeling. It's a
yeah.
horrible feeling, and I get it. And like, actually, it just made me think of the beginning of this week when like the kids' bags were just all over the floor, and I was being really anxious and panicky, and I was like, sometimes I know, and I know this is really silly, but sometimes I know that if I'm really anxious and panicky or really stressed, like if I control my physical environment and if my physical environment is better, I just mentally feel better. And
It makes total sense.
it makes sense to you, right? You like straighten up those goddamn cushions and everything's going to
Yes.
be okay.
Yes. Judo chop them in the middle for the love of God.
I did that. I was walking through the living room like chopping cushions. Like, yes, it helps. But I was just like on the point of freaking out. Just with this whole weird mental thing that I was going through, and I just got so frustrated with the bags on the floor, which was just so silly. And I like kicked his sports bag across the floor, and I was like, "Get these fucking bags!" And then I'm like, "Oh my God, okay, you're losing the plot. You need to just try not to do anything else and just get them to school." And the thing is that like sometimes we just don't have it in us.
Mm.
Sometimes we just don't have the capacity in the moment to get it right. Even though on any other given day we're capable of getting it right, you know what, this morning you didn't have it in the moment.
Mm.
And it sucks because you then feel like an absolute piece of shit, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but you're not a piece of shit. You're human
Mm.
and you just didn't have it in the moment. And
Yeah.
like, I can't tell you how many times I've also been in that situation. And then my son's like, "Would you like a cup of tea?" And I'm like, "Oh no, he's parenting me." It's
Yeah, I know he's having to pick
he's
up the slack here.
he's
Oh god.
he's now parenting me. And then I've had to have this conversation about like, "Hey mate, like it's okay. Sometimes this is my problem and it's not your job to fix it and blah blah blah." And you will go this afternoon and you will do the repair and you will
Yes.
do that.
Yeah.
And it's not going to look perfect every
Mm.
time. But
Yeah, it's so
neither is
true.
it going to be for them as they grow up. Like there's going to be days when they don't have it in the moment either.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
And to
sucks, but it's also
understand that,
human.
like, we can all move through it and it's okay. Like
Yeah.
we didn't have a great morning. I let him down, but I'm already like really excited to pick him up I'm I'm ready. Like
Yeah.
I am ready to repair. I wasn't ready this morning, and that was just a shame for him that like that moment couldn't happen for him before I dropped him off.
But like that's a really cool conversation to have.
Mm,
Like that, look at this as a teaching moment now because you can say that. You can say, "Hey, listen, like, you know, when that happened this morning, I got really upset and I wanted to make it better, but my feelings weren't ready in my body
yeah.
because that was your physical experience that
Yeah.
you were having. The feelings in your body meant that you weren't ready or capable of making it better in the moment,
Yeah.
and you just needed some time.
Yeah.
And, you know, now you've had that time and you're really excited about seeing him and spending time with him. And, because I remember that there was a time when my two had some kind of fight or argument. And I wanted the repair to take place. So I was pressuring Alex to apologize to Frankie or to make it better or to forgive her, or I can't remember what way it was going. But he essentially said to me, "I'm not ready." Like his feelings were, "I'm still hurt and upset,
Mm,
and I can't say those words because they're not genuine and my body isn't ready." And so I was like, okay, this actually can't happen on my timeline. This
mm.
has to happen on his timeline. And then the
'Cause
next
we know
morning
how that feels, right?
right. And like if you tried to repair in that moment, which you couldn't, maybe that would have felt disingenuous to him. And like maybe the energy of that would have also been off. So maybe it's better to then come back and be like, "I'm really sorry. I was feeling upset and I know that wasn't very nice to be around, but now I'm ready and I
Yeah.
can feel it in my body." Because, we have to stay connected to the authenticity of our feelings and the physical signals that we're getting, because otherwise it lacks authenticity and it's not genuine. And the kids feel that that's off as well.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
well,
with the kids, just to finish that, the next morning they repaired on their own in the kitchen, and I'm like, sometimes I need to get out of the way because it's not like I want it a particular way and I want it on my timeline, but
mm.
actually that's not fair to them because it's their experience. And he he like set that boundary to honor his experience.
I was just gonna say, like, fair play to Alex for knowing
He's amazing.
like, that's quite incredible to know, like, "No, this isn't what I'm ready to do," but he knew that it would probably come, but, he had a boundary. He didn't wanna do it then, he didn't feel ready. Good on him for recognizing that.
I know. So actually, you know, it feels messy and it feels really uncomfortable. And like it does make you feel horrible because, especially when you're like, "I'm the parent, they're the child, I should be able to do this." But in your body, you couldn't. And just think about when he scratched you, this isn't an experience that happens hopefully very much in adult life. So
No.
the physical experience of that, where would that have taken you back to emotionally? That
Mm.
could have taken you right back to like something that happened in the schoolyard or with your sibling when you were little, and perhaps you had unresolved feelings about that from another time when there was a sense of injustice or
Mm.
anger or whatever, and the signals your body was giving was reflective of a time when you weren't, having the like adult awareness around an experience.
Yeah.
And if you're already stressed, it's very hard to sort of override that kind of stuff.
It's
So
really hard. It's
yeah,
really hard.
yeah, and like when you don't have that coping capacity in that moment or that adaptation energy because you're already tired, I kn- I know those are the ugly parts of being a parent, but also, it's not going to help more by beating yourself up about it, and you kind of have to give yourself some grace. And I've had
Yeah.
that like this week as well, where I've felt like I've really been letting you guys down because I haven't been able to work.
You
And
haven't.
but
You
you
have
guys have
not.
been so amazing about it. But then I've just been like, oh God, I actually have to give myself some grace. Oh, actually, this my sister told me this. Thank you. You have to give yourself some grace and just take the time to recover. Fine.
And and you absolutely do. You absolutely do. And I think like that's the thing when we are so used to being productive all the time, when we're so used to constantly having things on the go, working every day, parenting every day, that to take that time, even when your body so desperately needs it, it still feels like you're letting other people down when it's like you're so not. You're so not. Like the last thing I would want was for you to be like pushing through, like feeling horrific. It's just, it's not worth it. It's
No,
just
and
not worth it.
if we recorded the episode that we rescheduled this week, it would have been a shit conversation because I can't think straight and
Because
I
you've got mashed
sound
potato in
weird.
your head.
I'm full of mashed potato.
Yeah.
So like, and if it wasn't me, if you're in that situation, I'd be like, don't worry about it,
Mm,
But I think we value productivity above so much else, and we just expect ourselves like no downtime, keep working, keep parenting, keep doing things. It's like you wouldn't expect that of someone else. Why are you pushing these standards on
mm.
yourself?
Yep. Yep.
Mm.
100%. Last week it was this beautiful day, and it was a weekday, and I was sort of, doing little bits and bobs, and I put Penny down for her nap, and I was just about to open my laptop and just do some stuff that I needed to do, and I was like, I'm going to take this hour and I'm going to lie on the deck in the
Oh,
sun with my book.
oh.
And I felt so naughty. It was the most bizarre thing. Like I was like, "Oh my god, I feel like I'm wagging school." Like it was I was like, "It's such a beautiful day and I need to get my tan started. I'm going to just take this hour to read my book in the sun with no children around me, and I'm going to just make the most of it." But the whole time, I felt I was like I'm almost embarrassed to like admit it on here. I'm like, "Oh, people can't know about this moment that I took when I wasn't filling my time with like work and admin and house and cleaning the house." And because I mean, like, the house is completely disgusting. There is just like, honestly, I need to get to the bathroom that the kids use. It is, what is up with children and toilets?
Oh, I was just gonna say I had to clean the driest skitty off the bowl.
Oh,
Honestly,
oh.
nightmare. Just
It
I
is a
know.
nightmare. It is a nightmare. And then, like, if I leave it, a little bit too long, I'm like, oh, we can't have a visitor, because they'll come in here and be like, Jesus Christ.
And if we do, they can't use the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say sorry. It's actually closed for maintenance, so you can't. Yeah, you can't step from there. It's borderline condemned. Um, so,
Sorry. Oh, excuse me.
but thank you, Bean. I really do appreciate that, actually, because like sometimes it's nice to, and you guys listening as well, like, we can be bloody hard on ourselves, right? Like when we make one mistake or when we're not perfect all the time, like, you can just really get in this spiral of guilt and shame, and it's like, who is perfect all the time at any job, at
Mm,
anything? There
mm,
there is no one, and one thing that I have really embraced, I think particularly over the last year, is understanding the power of authenticity when it comes to parenting. Like, I think sometimes when we are constantly fed parenting videos
mm.
on social media, it's like we're all kind of reading from the same script. It's sort of bizarre. You know, they hear it sometimes at the playground or whatever. Like, we're all speaking to our kids with, like, I see you're feeling, you wanted that. You're feeling frustrated about that, and part of me is like, "Oh my god, we're all like dirt, 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 robotic in a way sometimes that, like, let's also just bring a bit more of who you are as a person, whether
Mm,
that's humor or fun or whatever. Just bringing a bit more of your personality into it and, like, knowing that that will be okay. It's
yeah.
fine if you can just deal with something in your own words. And maybe you did say be careful even when you're not allowed to say that. Just like all of these things that
We
let's
watched you say,
just
"Break a leg."
yeah, yeah, exactly. There you go, break everybody in your body, have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, just how powerful being authentic with your kids is and showing them you, you
Yeah,
know? And that's
totally.
okay.
It is okay. And I also want to say, remember when we interviewed Genevieve Muir from Connected Parenting?
Yes.
We've had her on a couple of times and she's fantastic. So highly recommend go back and find those episodes. I'll put the links in the show notes. And she said that, you only need to get it right 30% of the time to have a secure connection with your child.
That is so comforting.
You are allowed to get it wrong.
Yeah.
And even wrong is I don't feel okay about that word. You can miss the mark
Mm,
of perfection and it's going to be okay because you've built a secure foundation with your child anyway. And they
yeah.
get enough of right to be able to withstand not perfect, you know?
Yes, 100%. Oh, I just thought of a perfect analogy.
Oh, go on.
So I love a good analogy. So when you're building, like, there's a bunch of scaffolding beside this high building, and you've been building it and building it and building it. Oh my god, a level breaks. And you're like, oh shit, am I going to fall through the whole thing? No, you're just going to fall onto the next level, and then you just build it up again, and it's fine because you have worked so hard on building it level by level by level by level, with all of these different, like, micro moments
Mm,
that all add up, that when
yeah,
something happens, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You made a mistake. Who cares? You repair it and you move forward and you learn from it. It's all good.
yeah, absolutely. You will be
Oh, you're
getting that ice
frozen.
cream.
Absolutely. I'm gonna pick the kids up. We're gonna go for ice cream and I'm gonna be just so great.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
you're
gonna be
gonna be the
such a great parent.
you're gonna be the best parent for the rest of the day.
Yes, but we did actually have quite a great list of topics to cover, and all we got to was you being really sick and me fucking up in the morning.
Do you know
So,
what? That was what was relevant and fine. We'll come back and we'll talk about the other stuff. Little bit of housekeeping.
oh yes,
Little bit of housekeeping. One, if you have a child who is getting ready to start school in the new year, highly encourage you to get the My Big Moments Ready for School book, which I have duly written for you in particular, individually, you, your family. And it's available in stores, in bookstores, and online at mybigmoments.com. And in that, we've written it alongside child development experts. So it's really prepares your child for starting school and it covers their main concerns. It helps you all prepare. It gives them some agency over their experience. And so when they start school in the new year, you're going to feel ready and they're going to feel ready. And it's going to be the smoothest possible experience that you could hope for. So don't forget that you get a 10% discount with putting an Untidy at checkout on My Big Moments. And the books are available online, on our website, on bookstores' websites, and in store. So go in and ask for that. Little plug on our part.
and they are bloody good. Like Milo and Audie love the Ready for School book.
Thank you.
I know,
Thank
they
you.
love it.
Yeah, we're very proud of it. And it's just like, it feels really good that it's been helping so many families and so many kids.
Mm.
And I kind of wish that they were around when my kids were going through all that stuff. But look, we've done it. We've done it for you. Also, we are going to take a little break over Christmas and New Year, but the podcast will not stop. But what we're going to do is reissue some of our favorite podcasts from the very beginning. So if you missed them the first time round, have a listen in. There's some amazing conversations there. But we're knackered. So while we love doing this, and it's one of our favorite things, we are going to have a
Need
sleep
a little
and
break.
we're going to have a little break. Maddie's, we're going to lie down and read a book in the sun and give ourselves permission to do it and relax and enjoy it and just fully sink into that. And we hope that you can too. But there'll always be something to go into your ears. So
Yes,
don't
it's
you
actually
worry
been
about that.
quite hard to choose, hasn't it? Because we've just
Yes.
got so many great episodes.
I know. So that is the housekeeping. Also, wanted to thank everybody who voted for us in the Listener's Choice Award for the New Zealand Podcast Awards. We didn't get it. However, what we did get...
But thank you for voting nonetheless.
But thank you for voting nonetheless, because we felt your support. But what we did get was we won gold for the best family podcast in the New Zealand Podcast Awards, and we won silver for the best branded podcast for the collaboration between Untidy and My Big Moments. So we feel actually very proud, and
Very
it's
proud.
very proud of that, and it feels really good because we do put our heart and soul into this, and it means a lot to us. And every time we hear from one of you guys telling us how much you love it, or sharing a story, or sharing a part of your world with us, that means just so much. And so it's a real privilege to do this, and we want to keep doing it, and that's certainly some encouragement to do so.
Yes, indeed. Right. Well, hey, Bean, you get into bed. Yeah.
Thank
Take the
you.
afternoon.
I'll give myself permission to rest.
Finish work early, would you?
Oh, I will. I mean, I've frankly barely done anything today, but but the episode has gone up, so that comes out tomorrow. So that the important parts are done, and you go have some ice cream and enjoy your children, and
Oh, I
just
will.
remember, this is just going to be a repair, and it's a learning opportunity, and every little rupture and repair is a little bit different, and it's just going to mean that his experience is going to be, sometimes things don't work out, but then they get fixed.
Exactly. Exactly. And they are just so good at living in the present that I can almost guarantee that I'll bring it up and he'll be like, oh, well, anyway, when are we getting ice cream?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No grudges will be held.
Exactly. All right, Ben. Well, rest up. Take care of yourselves. Lots of love to you all. And yeah, we will see you
We'll be
next
back
week.
with the rest of our talking points that are quite funny that we didn't get to very, very soon.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Mate wa.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Untidy. If you enjoyed it, we would really love your help to support us to continue to make the show. Things you can do that make a huge difference is subscribing to the show so you never miss an episode. You can also leave us a little 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And of course, please share this podcast with your mates. It means that we can continue to build this community, keep putting out untidy episodes, and just keep doing what we love to do.
And don't forget to check out mybigmoments.com for kids' books that make your tricky job of parenting just a whole lot easier. Untidy listeners get a discount at checkout, so just pop in Untidy for 10% off your order when you check out. And lastly, we would like to thank all of the good people that make this podcast possible: Flicker Williams and Joe Rocker at My Big Moments for the beautiful artwork and design, and Maxine London Creative for editing this episode. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. We'll see you soon. Mate wa.